Hey everybody, so today I have to share my yoga instructor with you. She is so amazing and she really inspires me because I can't do some of the moves that this lady does yet. I'm working on it though. I am getting a little better, but Rosie, you want to tell everybody how old you are?
I'm 70.
70 years old, you guys, 70. I think it's in a lot of our paradigms that as we get older, we're supposed to get decrepit and sick and not be able to move around very well. And she's just happy and thriving, and 70 is just a number. She's teaching my yoga class and I go and I learn from her, and she's showing us the moves. She comes over, she's like, maybe you can do it this way. I'm like, okay. But I'm just so inspired by her. So I wanted to bring her on and share her story with you. So the first question I have for you is, what inspired you to start doing yoga? And I guess the second part of that question would be, how long have you been doing yoga?
Okay, I've been doing yoga probably about 5 years, not that long.
Really? I would have thought that you'd been doing it longer because you're so good at it.
Well, they offered a class at our college to go through and get the 200 hours for teaching credits, which you hardly ever can find. It usually is very expensive.
Right.
And I had a daughter that always wanted, she's been practicing for years, and she just never took the time to get certified. So I said, come on, let's go. Let's do this class at the college. Nice. And so we did it together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so supportive mom.
Yeah,
I love
let's
it.
go. Let's
nice.
not let nothing stop us.
So obviously you enjoyed it because you're teaching. And is your daughter still teaching too?
She hasn't really started.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
She's a substitute teacher and she's more academic, but she loves the side of yoga, the peaceful side. Mm-hmm. She's more of an achiever, go, go, go. And so was I. You know, right. I did 44-mile bike rides. I was a biker, Zumba, step class.
Okay.
When aerobics first came out, well, I think I was 23, and that aerobic fad first started. Right. I just loved it. I loved to sweat. I had the release of the endorphins. So I have been not without that aspect my whole life.
So you have exercised your whole life. Well, there you go.
That helps.
That's why she's so beautiful and amazing and thriving at 70. She's worked out all these years. I mean, that explains it.
But it's never too late. Like I remember my 50s, I'd been at home raising children, had the 7 kids, and then...
You gave birth to 7 children?
7 kids, a set of twins. Mm-hmm.
Wow, I have 4. Well, I have 5 before I gave birth to, so I'm like, props.
Oh yeah, and I chose at that time to not blame all of my physical things on giving birth or carrying children, because our bodies are made to do that. I breastfed them for 18 months each and just used my body the way it was created to, never thinking, oh, well, I'm this weight because I gained this 40 pounds after my children were born. It's always this putting the load of your body on your children.
Right.
Because of them.
Right.
So I never bought into that. I didn't use that as an excuse for whatever I went through during those years.
I absolutely love that.
So
I started to do that kind of when mine were younger. I'd be like, well, if I had 4 kids, I wouldn't be fat. Well, obviously there was a hole in my story because there's ladies like you out there who never use that as an excuse to eat the ice cream and whatever.
But, because I had watched other women and I saw them go that route and they lost their energy. They lost their ability to be a good mom. And I thought, I've got to be stronger than 7 children. I don't want to get tired. I want to stay up there with that level to manage 7 children. Right. So they're not the reason why I'm tired.
Right. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Since I lost all that weight, I lost 75 pounds. Most of you know that. Since I lost all that weight, I honestly can tell you, I have more energy now chasing my grandchildren than I had chasing my kids, because my diet was terrible and I was not in a very good place here. And I think your mind state, number one, just like you said, is huge.
Well, that's what I believe. We are 90% what we allow our mind to tell us. Your mind is not your best friend usually. And I found a way to trick my mind very early. The only time I could work out because we didn't have what you guys have now, babysitting at the gyms. And so the only time I could work out would be 5:30 in the morning before my husband left.
Oh.
And your body doesn't want you to do that. You can't ask your body, hey, you want to go work out? Mostly it'll tell you no. You can't ask it. So you got to fool it. And so I would say, hey, I'm just going to go for a walk. Now this is tricky. And so in the morning, sure, I had to walk up to the bike trail where I ran. But when I told my body I'm just going to go for a walk, it never stopped me. I put on my shoes, walk up the bike trail, then I'd run.
Wow.
So you do kind of have to fool it, and you can't let it be the boss of you. That's the number one.
I have got to say, this interview is beautiful, isn't it? This is so amazing.
Well, it's fun.
It is just amazing that I have been surrounding myself with people who are defying that paradigm, and you have just been right there out in front and center, just defying what that paradigm of we're supposed to just not be, thriving. Then you're choosing to thrive, and you're choosing you're choosing to be the master. So you mastered your physical, your body,
right,
and you didn't let it control you.
No.
And I think a lot of us these days, I would say probably, I don't know anybody that doesn't allow their body to be their master. So I kind of feel like I'm in almost like in this whole little bubble of my own where I just kind of talk to myself. Because I can't really talk to anybody else about it, being a master of myself. That's why I do the cold exposure, because I believe that I get to choose, because I'm not my body. My consciousness is outside of my body. I'm murking it as a puppet, so to speak. That's what I believe. And I don't think that my body gets to decide if I'm exposed to cold water, if I get, I don't want, if it says, let's have pizza. No, we're not having, that's not what the plan is. The plan is to have salad. You're not having pizza. The plan is to, work out. You're not going to sit on your butt and watch Netflix. And so
once you begin to do that, and once you begin to practice teaching your mind that it doesn't get to be the boss. Your mind-body connection is not like, you have to separate it. You have to be the boss, because the body can't continually be the boss. You, as a person, your inside person, it's not the body. Sure, let's talk about it as your soul or your spirit.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Those guys have to be the boss.
Right.
If you let the mind-body go, the body will just want to always choose the easiest, more delicious way out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't want to choose, paying the price. But there's such a reward for that. And once you get, I remember when I was 50 years old, I went back to school to work. I'd raised my kids. My youngest was in 2nd grade. And I was like, there's still more left in me. Right. I went to school at night. And then I did this. It was called the EAS challenge. You could lose all this weight and take one of their supplements. I stripped every piece of fat off of me. I lost 30 pounds, I think, and I built up all this muscle. And then I got a job. I became a hairstylist. So at 50, I tell women, they talk about menopause. I decided to use menopause for my benefit, because at 50, you really only have enough estrogen for yourself. That estrogen that used to just flow so freely, you could abundantly give to everyone. You kind of have to be a little selfish kind of at that age, and I just changed my whole life. So 50 was like a beginning place for me.
Wow.
So 70, I still feel like I'm beginning. I never said, oh, I feel so old, or I'm so old. I know when we get old. I've got a 94-year-old mom. I know when I get old. It's around 90, not 70.
Wow. That is so amazing. That is so beautiful. That's my mantra. I actually tell myself every day, I am young. Yeah. I 50. I actually had a coworker tell me they thought I was 35 the other day. I was like, I love you.
I believe that. Yeah, I was shocked when you told me you were 50, and when I walked in, that's my grandson. I'm like, it still takes me a moment.
I think that it's here.
Yeah,
I mean, it was sunny. I had a funny story to tell you.
Yeah.
So when my kids were younger, I used to always joke. Every birthday I would tell them, I'm 27. They didn't know any better. They just, okay, mom's 27. But the 4th or 5th year in, when I have my 27th birthday again, they're suddenly questioning, but they didn't really say much. They would just say, okay, you're 27. So it kind of became a joke almost to the point where I almost brainwashed myself to think that I was 27 because I realized it was kind of a thing when I was talking to a lady at work who is around my age group, but she looks literally, I mean, she looks her age. Well, she looks older, way older than 50. And she had said something to me like, I had accidentally said something about my 27th birthday, and she turned around, her mouth wide open. You're the same age as me. What are you talking about? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not 27. But it's funny how your mind, like your mind's like, okay, we're 27. Just keep this so rejuvenated. Let's just stay young. And I almost regret that moment saying that in front of her because it's like it was a shock. Like, oh, wake up! You're not that young. You're actually as old as me. And I was like, nope, not letting that in. Yeah, not letting it in.
Right. See, and it's working for you. And it's just it is a big part of it is the mind. And then, you know, we can't just accept what the mass society is telling us. Like, okay, mass society is saying you're going to get all this weight and children are going to wear you out and they're going to exhaust you. And no, children are a blessing. I chose to believe that.
Yes.
And so that's how I live my life. My mind was changed by that. I never accepted what society said. Like they said, have 2.5 kids. Well, I guess I wasn't that good at math. I didn't have 2.5 kids. So I just never agreed with them. Every step, every age I hit, I create my own idea what that age should look like.
Wow.
So 50 was the beginning of a new life for me because I had estrogen enough for me. Kids were over there. And now 70, the same. It's time for new things, a new adventure. Before I moved, I lived in California for 50 years and we just moved here. But before I left, I had a hiking group that I was connected with. I had just connected with them. And when I say hiking, these women, we start at 10 in the morning or 9:30, and you don't stop until like 1:30. You have lunch and then you keep going. It wasn't a good hike unless we'd hiked 8 hours.
Wow.
Pure exhaustion. That level of pure exhaustion, I love. But because you don't have time for worry, you don't have time for stress because you're just exhausted. But the lady that was the oldest on that group, the leader of that group was 85.
Wow.
Years old.
Wow. I love this.
5 years old. And I mean, we would hit certain mountains and you couldn't talk. It was so steep. Wow. And she would be right there with me.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be me, y'all. Okay.
That's
just
right.
saying those hashtag goals, life goals.
That's right.
Yeah. I have just decided that I am not going to take the norm. Mm-hmm. The norm is not for me. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not going to be, I don't want to put my kids through what I'm going through with my mom. Right. I've decided that that's not going to happen.
There you go.
I'm going to invest in my grandkids' lives. They are not going to have to be, I'm not going to be that sickly, grandma that can barely move around. No, if they're out on the play, if they're out playing, I'm going to be out running around chasing them. We play shark. Yeah. Rawr, rawr, I'm going to get you. And they squeal and run. And I love that. I want to be a vibrant contributor to my family. And I'm just finding these people all around me, and I have to share them with you because they're real and they're really living their best lives. It's so amazing. Yeah. I think that's right. Your mind state is 90% of it.
Yeah, and with my grandkids, as I had each grandchild, I really, the same way I feel about my children, I feel about my grandkids. Like, I want to be there for them in a physical, mental, and spiritual place. Wow. I don't want to be old, broken down by life. Right. To the point where they have no one to look to admire, and to pattern themselves after. And so even my oldest grandchild, I think she's 16, and I think I have 14. I keep 14 grandkids.
Just keep accumulating more and more.
And when we get together, we try to get together because we're scattered all over once a year. And my grandkids still cannot beat me on any hike, on any run, on any... So they are learning at this age that we can keep going. And my husband, he's the same. He's 74. He retired from Pac Bell, went back to school at 60 to do ITT Tech. And so he was working at Pac Bell and going to school at night at ITT Tech to become computer oriented. Wow. 74 now, still working. At 74.
Right.
So, like, some people, they want to retire. You should. You want to retire, but don't just sit around.
Right.
Stay active, stay
Right.
engaged, go to school, work out. Come on. You'll know when it's time to go.
Wow.
Don't start too soon.
Right. Exactly. I love this so much. Like, I'm just like all excited right now. I'm just talking to her about everything. Like, wow. So I'm like, I can't even talk right now. I'm so excited. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing all of this beauty with me on how you live your life. It's so inspiring.
Oh, thank you, honey.
And it's because I think that so many literally, like I was in my 30s, so depressed, just ready to just kind of like, curl up and die. That's how depressing my life was. And it wasn't until I think all of my children left, all 4 of my kids finally just left. I literally had to kick them all out, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That happens.
with the grandkids, and I was like, you know what? I can't live like this anymore. Everybody's got to go. But once the house was quiet, and there wasn't, you know what I'm talking about, when you have a house full of children, I was able to kind of think. And I was like, okay, so how can I contribute? How can I grow? How can I learn? And so I just started like learning and learning and learning and learning. And it just seems like the more I learn, the more I want to learn. Yes. You know, beautiful. And I just love it. And
because you're 50, right?
I am 50. I turned 50 in January.
Okay. I do believe that that's a very special age for recreating yourself.
Oh,
I believe that you have one extra push at that age where you can change the things that are not good. And it's not always like, get rid of your husband. Although that may be a feeling at that age because you've allowed yourself to just pour out too much maybe to your children and your husband, and you have nothing left. But that doesn't mean divorce your husband or do too much drastic work on you. Concentrate on you. Listen to your mind. You got some bad mind things going on. Fix that. And remember that your mind isn't your friend. Challenge the things that your mind speaks to you about.
So I have a question for you. Did you obviously didn't watch a ton of TV, if this is how
I
you
never allowed
think.
any TV. Yeah, when I was young.
I can see that and I know this because I took myself off of TV probably about 10 years ago. I just stopped watching TV because of the commercials. I put 2 and 2 together, and I realized I'm being programmed to think a certain way. I'm being programmed by the programs that we watch.
Sure.
And I decided, I was like, I think I need to start thinking on my own, kind of. And so we got rid of the cable. We stopped having cable. We did watch movies. We didn't live under rocks.
Right.
But we kind of like realized, hey, I'm getting sick and tired of having my emotions being played by the news every night, because there's always some kind of drastic thing going on to worry about. I had 4 kids that all had problems. I had enough to worry about, right?
Absolutely.
So, and then also commercials. I'm always being told I need to buy, do something. I'm incomplete without this product that they're pushing on me. And we used to fall asleep a lot watching TV. And so you get subliminal messages because your mind is always listening.
Yeah.
And so your mind is wide open and nobody's there to stand guard, so to speak.
Sure.
And so it's all coming in. And so you go through the drive-thru the next day and you're getting this new burger and you think, yeah, this tastes like garbage. Why did I even do that? Well, you had a message while you were sleeping.
Yeah.
To you needed that new cheeseburger, right?
Sure.
You weren't complete without it, because they spend so much money telling us what we need to have
to be happy.
To be happy, right? So I could just automatically tell, talking to you, that you weren't going to be the status quo. You weren't going to do what society said you had to do. So here you are, vibrant at 70 years old. Basically, literally, to me, you'd love to have the life of a 40-year-old,
Probably, yeah. And I think as you go through life, you realize, like even when I was in my step class and all my my different classes, like Zumba, especially, you'd have these young people come in, and you could see that they would think that they're going to, you're old, you're gonna, and I'd be like, poor baby, she just doesn't know, and halfway through she'd be giving up, and I'm just starting, so I could be even maybe younger than 40, but that has to do with your aerobic capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and your muscles, and I mean, you do your life, you use your body like that.
Right.
It should be in pretty good shape. But another thing that I noticed when I began to learn that your mind isn't your friend is I watch these people come into one Zumba class, and I watched their mind because we had an amazing instructor, and I would be intimidated by her. But what the mind did to these people that were just coming was tell them they were uncoordinated, they looked stupid, and they shouldn't be in the class. And I would go to those people afterwards and go, how do you feel? And they'd be going like, oh, I shouldn't come to this class. I don't have this energy. I go, none of us did. Don't let your mind tell you you're this or you're that. Hang in there. Keep going. Just like you're doing in your yoga class. Maybe when you first started, you're like, oh, wow, I should stop. Right?
Right.
But you're not.
Oh, yeah.
You're not. You're not
Right.
letting your mind tell you that.
Right.
So especially when it comes to exercise, you really have to be the boss.
Right. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I noticed that I actually can do the child's pose now, where at first I could only grab my ankles. Now I had it all the way across my feet. I'm like, whoa, I'm getting better. I'm just
Right.
excited.
But see, a lot of people take themselves out. They'll go to one yoga class, one step class, one Zumba class, and you'll convince yourself that you shouldn't be in that class.
That's self-talk.
Self-talk.
Yeah, that self-talk that we're always doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're hearing voices from the past of somebody that said, oh, you can't do that or whatever.
Or you're uncoordinated. You
Right.
have no rhythm. The
Right.
spiel.
Right. Or you're unphotogenic or whatever
Sure.
the case may be.
Sure.
And I just
Yeah.
love it. But I have to let her go because she does have a class to teach tonight.
Yeah.
So
Like,
anyway, Rosie, if there's anything that you would tell people to sail into their 70s gracefully, we'll just say you're trying to start over, say at 50 or 40 or 50. What one piece of advice could you say to really thrive into old age? What would it be? Would it be your mind, your self-talk? Would it be exercising? What is the one thing you think is the most important?
well, I think the theme, what's been coming up this whole time, is probably don't let your mind take you out. And don't let your mind tell you should feel old and be sitting at home and you're too old for this, or you're uncoordinated, or any of those messages that are trying to take you out before you even get started. And any price you begin to pay right now will be worth it. Whatever price you begin, getting up and start small if you need to, and fool your mind. Don't let it tell you, oh, you're too cold, or it's raining. I would say that was a bit, okay, just join the gym, but make sure you're not letting your mind kill you before you should die.
Kill it before you start.
Yeah.
Guys, I have literally been speechless. I'm just in awe of this woman. I'm usually able to just keep roll with the punches, but I've been just because I am just so amazed by her. If there's one thing that I want you guys to take away from this, is that you absolutely can have a healthy, vibrant life. You don't have to just live your life in front of a TV watching other people live a life. Get out there and live your own, and realize that your self-talk is that important, and that you really need to see what the results can be if you start making some better choices now. I mean, if you're at a crossroads, think about where you're going to be at 70 if you continue with some of the behaviors that you're doing right now.
Well, that is another secret, yeah, because I think what I started doing was at 40, at 30, I'd go, what do I want to be when, let's say I was 30, what do I want to be when I'm 40? And I did 10 years ahead, and then I always planned to be that person. See who you want to be 10 years ahead of time and pay the price. Because there is a lot that happens in your 60s, I must say. You think you're going to get away with a lot of stuff, either the way you've been eating, the way you've been drinking, the way you've been thinking. And you hit your 60s, and what I started to notice, I'd be shocked because I still felt young. And I'd be in airports and different areas. I go, well, how are you? And they'd say 62, but they looked 72.
Yeah.
And that's when I began to see your 60s are like a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Can you make it through? And whatever you thought you were getting away with, it's gonna come asking for its payment, and it's in your 60s. So you still have time to change that, obviously.
Right.
Look at you.
Right.
So
I think about that a lot, quite a bit, because I came to a crossroads probably about 6 years ago because I got really sick, and I was 75 pounds heavier, and I realized at that point that if I didn't make some drastic changes, drastic changes and quick, that I could be a very different person than what I am right now. I was full of fibroids. They thought they were going to have to put me on hormones and give me surgery and all kinds of stuff. But I was able, thank you, Jesus, able to heal by changing my diet. I didn't get on drugs. I didn't do any of that stuff. I literally changed the way I ate.
And that healed the fibroids?
It did, yeah. I got off a lot of, but I did a lot of research. Then when they came in and they told me all this, I was like, yep, nope. I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, no surgery for me.
Right, exactly. I mean, I wasn't gonna die at that moment if I didn't have
Right.
surgery. I mean, I'm not dumb. I was like, if I would have needed it right then to save my life, okay. But it wasn't like that. I knew that it was something in my lifestyle that I was doing. I knew that, just kind of that inner wisdom.
Right.
My inner wisdom knew, okay, you don't live a healthy life. You're a sugar addict. All you eat is crap. You're a bakery manager. You're stressed out all the time.
Whoa, yes.
And I was like, something's got to change. And I did. And I realized right now, guys, I'm 50. Things could have looked a lot different. I could look a lot older, a lot heavier, and I would not be here doing what I'm doing, trying to share the love with you guys and give you hope for your future, that you can make changes and live a happy, healthy, vibrant life and be a good influence on your family. And think about the future of your kids and your grandkids. They're worth every minute of the work to show them how they could live. Don't pass on your, I don't want to call it disease of the mind, but that's kind of what I was doing, was passing on almost like this diseases of the mind by the way I thought and act and did things. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. This amazing, amazing woman, Rosie.
We all are amazing, Yeah. We all can be.
Anyway,
yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show with me today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. I hope you're inspired. Bye.